Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with Shad PS4, and Shad PS4 development continues to impress. So last week we talked about Shad PS4 running Red Dead Redemption, and here's a video from their Discord server showing that game in action and showing it running very well. Yes, it's at 60 frames per second. Yes, things look to be a little bit too fast and artificially sped up. But at the same time here, the fact that a computer can do this with Red Dead Redemption on Shad PS4 is very impressive. There are a number of people on that server, and there's also now a number of YouTube videos showcasing Red Dead Redemption in Shad PS4 running at 60 frames per second. This is very impressive and very promising. I mean, someone's got BlazBlue Central Fiction up and running at 115 frames per second, and no, I'm not joking with you. Now, all of this is from the work-in-progress version of Shad PS4, which is version 0.1.1. The latest release of Shad PS4 is version 0.1.0. If you're curious about Shad PS4 and wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop a link to their Discord and to their GitHub and to their website in the description below. Feel free to check them out. Next up is a quick heads up if you've got an Android device with a Snapdragon CPU and an Adreno GPU. Well, if you have a Snapdragon CPU, you automatically have an Adreno GPU. Anyways, here Mesa Turnip drivers just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, because this does get updated quite frequently, the latest update here is version 24.3.0 revision 2. As for all of these releases, results will vary based on device, emulator, and game. For example, this person says Marvel vs. Capcom is finally playable in Vita 3K. Some graphics are messed up, but they could select a team in the arcade. And unfortunately, it's not going to bring anyone's dad back home. Next up, we're talking about something that I wasn't aware of, and I'm very curious to see if it's going to be popular or not. But apparently there's a Dragon Ball MOBA in the works. I'm not joking with you. So this game is called Dragon Ball Project Multi, and there is a test coming out between August 20th and September 3rd for iPhone, Android, and also on PC via Steam. The Steam store page for this one is already up. It's going to have 4 versus 4 battles, customization, and even more. If you are curious about it all, drop a link to the trailer in the description below and feel free to check it out. And let me know your thoughts about a Dragon Ball MOBA. And on a quick side note here, from the mobile side of things, it appears that specs are not going to be that light. For example, for iOS, the minimum specs are an iPhone 11 or later, and they're recommending an iPhone 13 or later. And for Android, the minimum specs are a Snapdragon 855 with 4 gigs of RAM. And they're recommending a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 or later. That is pretty beefy. Next up here, we're quickly talking about SteamOS. Now, I was pinged a whole bunch about this update for one very important reason. Anyways, here, SteamOS version 3.6.9 beta was just dropped. They're calling this one the Mega Fixer. There are a whole bunch of fixes in this, but there's one very important line in here. So right here under input, it says added support for extra ROG Ally keys. Does this mean that SteamOS is going to be headed to the ROG Ally? Does this mean that Valve is going to release SteamOS for multiple different systems, or at least more systems other than the Steam Deck? Who knows here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but people are speculating a lot about this one. Next up here, we're quickly talking about the upcoming Google Pixel 9 series of phones, and pricing has leaked and things are not looking that cheap anymore. So someone initially spotted this over on Google and posted it on Reddit, and here is that screenshot. This is from T-Mobile in the US. The Google Pixel 9 Pro XL 256 gigs is going for $1,200. And this is one thing I find interesting here because the exact same phone, it appears, in the 512 gig variant is going for the exact same price. Now, unfortunately, it's not like I can go to T-Mobile's website and take a look at the prices and the plans and everything that they got going on. But at the same time here, I'm very curious to see what the prices are without a plan. I'm assuming they're going to be even more expensive. I don't know about you, but to me this seems like one of the signs of the times where everything just keeps getting more expensive at a very fast pace. And speaking about Google, next up we're quickly talking about the Google TV Streamer, which is the 4K set-top box set to replace the Chromecast. It appears that Google is no longer making Chromecasts and will let inventory run out. They do say they're going to continue to support them though. Now I find this very unfortunate because I'm a big fan of the Chromecast. It's nice that it's going to continue to get updates, but at the same time here, I mean, the price of the Chromecast was very attractive. In Canada, it sells for about $40 overall. I think that's $30 in the States. And now going to this new TV streamer, which is $100, is quite the price hike as well. Moving on, and we're switching from Google to Huawei. And Huawei's first trifold smartphone is going to be receiving PC-level apps, or at least supporting PC-level apps. I don't necessarily know what that means. If you do, let me know in the comments below. I'm assuming it's going to be, I don't know here, maybe something like Excel or maybe some PC level optimization or work level apps. I don't necessarily think gaming, but at the same time, who knows? Next up, this one is a big one. We're talking about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which seems to be the game that just keeps on giving, and it's an awesome game series at that. Anyways, here there's a brand new tool called Tony Hawk's Pro STRCPY, and it is a game save network RCE exploit that can be used to hack several different game consoles, including the Xbox, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, and GameCube. I'm not joking with ya. So they say here, this bug exists in the loading code for custom skate parks created with the Create a Park feature. The park editor allows players to create custom levels, and one of the features lets you create a gap and name it up to 31 characters. By maliciously creating a custom gap name in the park file, you can trigger a stack heap overflow and get control of the CPU instruction pointer. So at the time of filming, version 1.0 of this exploit has just dropped. If you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop a link to the GitHub in the description below and feel free to check it out. There's a link on this GitHub as well to a very good blog with a lot of great information and more detail. Additionally, Grim Does Stuff already has a YouTube video showcasing this script in action, and I'll drop a link to this video in the description below as well, and I do recommend checking it out. It's a very interesting process. Next up, we're quickly talking about Grand Theft Auto 3 on the Sega Dreamcast. No, this game never officially released for the Sega Dreamcast. And yes, we've talked about this one before on this channel. This is an unofficial fan port of the game to the Sega Dreamcast. Progress here is looking very good. Since the last time we talked about it, there's been some very big improvements, especially in terms of overall frame rate. Now, the crazy part about all of this is that this port is not running on an emulator, which arguably could push the port even further. This is running on actual Dreamcast hardware. Very impressive. And last up here, we're talking about a big win for MAME, or at least for DualShock 4 and DualSense controllers on PC. There's a brand new release of DS4Windows Lightgun. This adds MAME Lightgun support for DS4Windows. Map the left or the right analog sticks to the DS4 or DS5 gamepad gyro for multiplayer MAME Lightgun experience. So at the time of filming, DS4Windows Lightgun 1.0 beta has just dropped. Now, I haven't checked this one out myself yet. However, if you've got a DualSense controller or DualShock 4 controller, and you wanted to play light gun games in MAME with, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.